And welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. Now, every tournament, we have a tradition at the Intel Extreme Masters. We like to award, via the fans and via the fan votes, the sickest nerd baller of the tournament. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean it's the player who performed the best or anything like that, but the one that entertained you the most, inspired you the most, maybe exceeded your expectations. Well, your votes actually don't matter unless you did it online, but I do appreciate your opinion, man. So please, we had a huge fan vote. We have the winner. He's waiting right backstage. Please, everyone, scream and shout, Liquid Snoot. They love you. So he gets a whole bunch of stuff. He has like crazy BenQ gaming monitor, Intel's brand new i7 crazy extreme core, fastest thing in the whole world. He gets, it's a whole bag of, there, look, it's a whole bag of stuff. Look at that, oh my God. Gigabyte motherboard bag. And he gets a custom made pair of shoes, especially made for his feet. And it looks like he could use them, maybe. No, I mean, your shoes are fine. I bet they're very comfortable. Do you want to say something?
He wants to say something, I guess.
Say something to all your fans.
Thank you guys, all of you. It's been amazing to play here. You guys are awesome, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of this event and enjoyed the finals. Thank you, guys.
Guys, I just wanted to say something. I had a small moment in the crowd a couple of days ago. A guy saw this on my back, crew, didn't know who I was, and said, just to a random crew member, I'm privileged to be, you know, here with you. No, the privilege is mine. It was fantastic to be with you guys. You're a fantastic audience. And I assure you, everybody with a crew, sign back on their backs. They're all privileged to do this for you. Enjoy the final. Thank you.
Carmack. That's all he has, one name. Thanks, guys. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back with the grand finals.
Intel is very excited to launch our newest Extreme Edition microprocessor. It's codenamed Haswell, and it's our Intel Core i7 processor, our first processor with 8 cores, 16 threads, and new DDR4 memory. It's an incredibly powerful, high-performance microprocessor. It's incredibly overclockable. It runs at a base of 3 gigahertz flat out on all 8 cores. Test results so far are fantastic, seeing an excess of 4 gigahertz when overclocked. The new processor is in production now, so it's available today. Consumers have a range of choices. They can buy a complete system or motherboards with our new X99 chipset, box processors, and all the different components are available from a broad range of partners and customers. We are committed to enthusiasts. The gaming market is growing. Gamers love as much performance as we can possibly give them. So we resolved to bring new products to the market that they would love. We souped up our mainstream unlocked processor, codenamed Devil's Canyon, and was Intel's first 4 gigahertz, 4-core processor, getting rave reviews and actually blowing the doors off of all of our forecasts. So clearly the enthusiasts love this product. We see PCs as the future of gaming, and there's all kinds of exciting things happening here. So all in, across new products that Intel and the industry are investing in, great games and things like esports with Intel Extreme Masters, and the new trends we're seeing, the future is very bright for PC gaming.
And welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. This is it. We've come a long way. It's been a grueling tournament, possibly the most stacked of the entire year, but there are only 2 dudes left. They're both from KT Rolster. It's an all KT final. They're both from Korea, and they're both amazing. Are you guys ready? First, our Protoss player. Beautiful man with big pecs. Recently won the Pro League, former GSL champion. Put it together for Zest! And his opponent and teammate, the man, the god, the ultimate weapon, Flash!
Ooh, can you feel it? We can definitely feel it here in Toronto, that's for sure. Welcome to the analysis couch for the final time in 4 days here of fabulous StarCraft 2 action, and we've got an all KT Rolster final.
You can tell these guys are definitely starting to really feel the energy from the crowd. You know, in Korea, you do have crowds, you know, the Pro League and GSL and things, but you don't have the same kind of crowd that you get when you go international.
But I was going to say particularly, for some reason, Canada.
Yeah. You can see Zest.
It just is. It's just a different kind of feeling of a crowd. I don't know why, but it is, and it's fantastic. They've been brilliant for 4 days. Filled the fan expo, really annoyed all of the exhibitors around the area as well, so well done for that. Special shout out to Cakes Cove at the back, who, you know, they've done well at the back, I think, with all the StarCraft merchandise, and also being drowned out by the tannoy. That's a first for us today as well. Let's concentrate on the final. Flash. Is he back? Isn't he back? It's been something we've discussed over the last 8 weeks. He did well in Pro League. He kicked a football really well, but that doesn't really tell us whether he's back and he's as good as he was in Brood War. Now is the time to find out. He's made a final for the first time on the international scene for almost 3 years, the first time ever at the Intel Extreme Masters, and all he's got to do is beat a Protoss now.
And it's really interesting that, you know, sometimes you have a bracket where one side is easier. And you think like, oh, this guy doesn't really belong in the finals. And that is just not the case here. Flash just took down Tasia, who's been having an exceptional year. And then also Zest takes down Life, one of the champions that we've seen time and time again. You know, you can't help but feel like these are the 2 guys who deserve to be in the finals. But which one?
Absolutely. There was no easy side to the bracket whatsoever. Completely true. From a Protoss' point of view, Todd, are you rooting for Zest? Are you one of the few that's against Flash winning a big tournament for the first time? Because that's the other thing we should talk about. Is the fact that Zest has 2 big titles to his name this year, and in his career, Flash has a grand total of 0. As much as we talk about him being the ultimate weapon and god, in StarCraft 2 he has zilch.
It's about time he changed that, and looking at this matchup purely from a Protoss point of view and thinking about the Protoss versus Terran matchup, I have to say, I've said that many times, but I have to say it again, Zest is very predictable. So now it's a teammate versus teammate, so you never know what might happen. You might see the craziest game with like some proxies and some ridiculous stuff, but purely in terms of like main builds, Zest hasn't shown too much flexibility versus Terran, in my opinion. And against somebody like Flash, who is very good at coming up with solutions, a way to play against his opponents if he has time to study, which was one of his biggest strengths since the beginning of time. I think he might be able to do very well here if Zest does the same thing as he usually does.
Yeah, sorry, Todd. Best of 7. So, again, we're used to seeing these GSL finals, best of 7 in Korea. We see some crazy things going on. Are we expecting that again from these 2?
I mean, this is definitely, you never really want to repeat the exact same thing over and over and over. It gets too predictable. It usually leads to some pretty unsatisfying losses. And with so many games in this final, there are going to be some builds here probably that we haven't really seen anywhere else in the tournament.
We haven't seen, I think, Catalina in PVT. I don't remember seeing it. And here, I think they are not wasting any time before getting nasty because it's the first map that was picked. So
yeah, it's going to be a fun first map. Players' final preparations are underway. Those little sips of water and the earphones are in. We're ready. The crowd are ready. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, for the grand final of Intel Extreme Masters Toronto. Who wins from the KT boys? Let's find out with Kalaris and Apollo.
KT represents 100% in the final as Flash, God as some may call him, is on the hunt for his first title, but standing in his way is Zest, a GSL champion. Can he do it?
Can he do it? The crowd is behind him. The internet is behind him. This is going to be a remarkable final for sure. Can Flash finally get that title? But Zest is one of the best. But Todd, as mentioned, has picked out weaknesses. He is slightly predictable. Flash is a genius. Flash knows how to play these long series out. He's been doing it for tens of years now, Kalaris. And here he is. Flash, a remarkable run so far in this tournament. He's gone through Scarlet. He's gone through MC. He had that remarkable series versus Snoot and Tasia. Zest likewise has taken down Life and Polt and Yoda. So many good Terrans, but here we are.
All right, let's get into it. Game number 1, the grand finals, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. Give it up for Flash. And on the left, it's our red Protoss. Also from KT Roster, give it up for Zest.
The crowd is insane here. The final StarCraft game of an entire 4 days now, Kalaris. And it all comes down to this. The 2 players left standing in one of the most stacked tournaments we've seen in StarCraft 2 in a very, very long time. It is Flash, who came into this with the momentum. He's been playing so well over the last couple of months within Pro League and getting so many victories through the qualifier that he came here as well. Likewise, Zest is one of the best. He was the team captain, the flag bearer for his team in Pro League. Both of these Pro League winners just a couple of weeks back. And here they are, the 2 players who qualified from the Korean qualifier. They've gone through it all, from the qualifiers into the tournament and all the way to the grand finals.
And what better way for Flash to open up this best of 7 with Command Center first to really start things feisty here on Catalina. As, yeah, in the qualifiers, we saw Zest. He was able to beat Flash.
Yes,
there.
he
He went through that qualifier in first place for this tournament, and Flash in second. So, does history repeat itself, or does Flash get that revenge?
Something tells me we might be seeing something very different in this series. But one thing to know, they are teammates, they are practice partners, they talk about the game, they've helped each other through this tournament.
Yeah.
There will be elements of mind games throughout this series. What does he usually do? Okay, I'm going to do something different. So there will be strategical moves that sometimes don't make sense, but they do for these 2 players, and I'm sure that's going to come into play. As already, Flash has chosen the command center first, a greedier option to really focus on his income with SCVs bringing in the money. And he knows, Flash knows that Zest is like, we're probably going to start this series slower, not going to go crazy aggressive. He doesn't need to worry about anything in the early part of this game.
Yeah, and overall, Flash has had a good little bit of chunk of time to judge what Zest has actually been bringing to the table from those TVPs like we saw previously, as Todd was pointing out before. So maybe Flash is opening up in turn with that. Again, it's Catalina, a map that's a little bit... We don't see it too often in this matchup, basically. It keeps getting vetoed, but here we are to start things off.
Every single map, man.
Yeah, every single map.
The styles of both of these players are very similar as well. They're both predictable to a certain degree. They are both very solid, very defensively set up. So we're going to see lots of scouting and information gathering from both sides to know what they're playing against. And then we'll look to play a long, drawn-out game. That's where they excel. We know Zest is a Protoss player. He will defend. Maybe he'll do some fast third, but he'll mostly defend into drag it out long and then kill off nerds. in the tournament so far that we've seen him. He did that versus Tasia, he did it in other games as well. He will drag it out and then win in the later stages, but that's where Flash also wins the majority of his as well.
Yeah, that's true. We've seen actually both of them just go through to that style. You know, they never really want to take big risks to actually end the game outright. They're waiting for that opportunity, the 180 to 200 supply opportunity, that even if they've gained themselves a lead earlier on, they're patient, they're meticulous about how they want to dismantle their opponent when they're at full force.
All right, well, robotics facility here has been chosen by Zest, the standard tech choice of all three, the Twilight Council, the Stargate, and here the robotics facility. So he's going to be getting out the observers, he's going to be more than likely looking towards getting up to Colossus pretty fast. On this map, we haven't gotten to see it at all pretty much this weekend, so we haven't seen player tendencies here. But Flash hiding in SCV to the north here, and this is a scouting SCV who will want to try to get into the natural area to see if the gases have been taken, to see what he can find. Look at this though. The robotics facility is finished up, and usually what you see is maybe an observer built first, because you'd like to know what your opponent's doing, considering Zest doesn't know at all.
Yeah.
Maybe he'd like to squeeze a couple of more units out, but he's chosen the very fast robotics bay here. Flash is on 3 barracks, not a fast factory, and Immortal's being made too. I'm not too sure what the Immortal means, but Flash denied information. With such a fast robotics bay, he can be aggressive with this.
Yes, yes,
to get the Colossus out before there's Vikings, for example, to really get the higher tech before Flash has an answer to it, and he doesn't even know he's playing against it.
And especially with the Observer, like, will be eventually on the way across the map to actually have a look around. He actually, wait, did he started an Observer and then cancelled it for Immortals, right?
Yep, he went straight to an Immortal here.
Okay, all right.
So I think we could see an attack coming out from Zest here. An Immortal thrown in with it, and then over to Colossus as the robotic space now finished up. And a very powerful little army he's building. Chrono Boost directly into this robotics facility.
Interesting here that Zest is playing pretty blind. Normally you see those observers kind of mixed in, so
yeah, he doesn't care what's going on.
Yeah,
there.
he just doesn't care. He's
hitting
playing
the
his own
probe as
game.
well, so this definitely screams aggression at the moment. He stopped his pro production as well quite low, so he's only at 41 right now. If he's looking for a 30, he'd be obviously climbing up a little bit more. So he's going to start to add on more and more gateways soon. Flash has thrown down a 3rd command center before even looking at starting his production from the starport here. I think Flash may be in a bit of trouble here if he doesn't start to find out what's going on.
Yeah, first game for Flash needs more information. As for now, Zest, I mean, look, there's no probes on the way. There's a ton of gateways finishing up. Colossus on the way with Thermal Lance as well. He needs to really quickly find out what is going on, otherwise he could be staring down the barrel of a gun. Yeah,
and with Flash halting his unit production to squeeze in the 3rd command center, he simply doesn't have as many units as he would do normally at this point. And he's still without information. The pylon, the creeping pylons down here is where Zest is going to follow around. He's going to be warping the units from this position. But for the first time in pretty much, well, since we saw that SCV on the gases, Flash has got a Marine moving out. Is he going to walk into this army?
He's got to be careful about himself, but if he caught the Colossus...
He sees the Colossus. He sees 2 Colossus, and all of a sudden, I would be panicking, man. Yeah. It's time to build bunkers. You've got to get ready. He's seen this army. He comes back. Bunkers have been added on. 2 additional bunkers. He knows what's coming, but the big question now is, can he stop it in time? Otherwise, Zest will open up this best of 7 with a victory to his name.
Absolutely has to start those Vikings as quickly as possible. Got 2 on the way, but needs more here to try and hold this off. The pylon at the front is going to be able to reinforce very, very quickly here for Zest. Don't forget, he got a lot of gateways, and 3 Colossi are going to be the brunt force of this. 2 now go to town.
And this attack has started now. 3 force fields down, 1 bunker down already, and he's going to continue this. The Immortal dealing out a lot of damage.
Trying to do a little bit of more here, holding up a lot of the bio at the back, and also denying the repair on there to a couple of these swipes.
Immortal's gone.
If he gets through to those Colossi, he's trying to get on top of them. He kills off a lot of those Stalkers as well, but there's still so much firepower from these 3 Colossi.
Yeah, there's not much left for either side right now, but the 3 Colossus stand strong, and that's the most important part because there will be reinforcements to support them.
A lot of SCVs off the line once again. Flash knows he's in a bit of trouble here as he tries to hold on against this. He really didn't have too much intel about this up until the point where he saw it walking across the map. There's not that many gateway units with it though, so Zest has to wait for a few more warpins before he pokes forwards.
The Viking control is so important. He must not lose the Vikings.
They have to focus down the weaker Colossus, but whilst he's trying to get to them, of course those Stalkers are going to try and focus those down as well. A little micro battle going on here, positioning the SCVs at the front, hoping that that bunker is not going to fall during this.
A couple of SCVs going to get targeted down.
Big hits there. Big hits.
Yeah,
23 throw-offers.
Yeah, well, I'm going to see this attack once again coming in from Zest. He's building up that unit count. Vikings getting high, though. So Flash is holding on.
Looks like the transition behind this would be that Twilight Council, but at the same time, Zest now poised outside this base, looking to strike. Gets a few SCVs once again, but the Vikings are in good numbers now. Those volleys are holding Zest back.
Yeah, Flash is managing this really, really well at this moment. The Viking count now up to 6. And Flash is still mining. This has been an incredibly good hold from Flash, and Zest is going to back off.
I mean, let's look at that. 3 Colossi were barreling down on his natural when he had 2 Vikings in production.
And a
so
Marine even
hold.
sees a probe moving out to take a third base. So whether he was looking at that or not, well, actually, I say to take a third, but it should be. Okay, he's going to come down here and place it down. So great information gathering. Flash had 3 command centers. He was able to replenish SCV's lost, use the energy from the command centers to get the mules down to bring in the extra money, and he's back in the game.
And usually, we have to reiterate, normally for a player like Zest, that's the game finisher, right? That's the power. Oh, punch! Oh, losing one of the medevacs as he's looking to do some counter damage. Zest really on top of things. You can't underestimate a guy like Zest who, after going for a power punch, still has good defense behind it.
Well, throughout all of this, Colaris, we're only just now seeing the Forge being used for upgrades for Zest. Flash is going to be at 1-1 soon. The Viking count is already high. If Flash is able to strike soon, especially before that armor upgrade is complete, he naturally has an upgrade advantage, which means the fight will go more so in his favor. And I think very shortly, Flash moving out, I think sounds like a very good idea for him.
I mean, what's his army looking like right now? He has plenty of Vikings in the air. He's even had a second starport now whirring away with these Viking numbers as well.
Yeah, look at the army supply, 70 there to roughly 50. And all 3 of the Colossus that were in the initial attempt, the initial fight, are low in health. They're actually very low in health, all of them, so it's not going to be too difficult to bring them down fast, especially when we're looking at 11 Vikings. And here he comes, the march over to the other side of the map. Flash is ready, he's got 1-1.
I mean, Zest knows he's in so much trouble. He's trying to start a base up to the top right and gone a good blink here to start on those Viking numbers, but even still, getting those 2, there's still 11 Vikings to contend with weakened Colossi.
This could be game 1 to Flash. Get rid of the Colossus and the Bio. The Marines and Marauders will do the rest.
Looking for an opportunity, actually decides to pull back during this. This could be the saving grace of Zest.
He's pulling back because he moved up there. If he saw a third Nexus, he would have continued on. But right now, it looks like Zest is just building around, you know, on his 2 bases. Flash is looking around. He's asking himself now, if you're on 2 bases and I'm on 3, I'm making more money than you, so I don't actually need to go and attack because I can build a bigger army.
That Marine.
But if you're on 3 somewhere, then this changes the game a little bit more. And Flash is looking around.
He hasn't gone up.
He scans the natural and he's like, how is this guy affording Templar?
He's got to assume that there's a hidden base.
Of course. Flash is a smart guy, guys.
Flash is a smart guy.
And
sees
he's like,
a pylon.
And he sees the Nexus.
Oh, Flash.
Putting 2 and 2 together now, and, well, he's got to be careful because Zest is out in the open, and Storm has completed. There are High Templar here. There's a good scout there from Flash.
Army supply, 115 against 106 now, as Flash denies the Observer. Puts his opponent a little bit in the dark once he tries to stray forwards with High Templars if he's going to do that. But at this point, I don't know if Zest can... He has to land Storms to take a fight.
Yeah, he has to here, but I think Flash has to fight and win this game soon. He's got no further upgrades. He is only at 1-1. There's 2 High Templar on the left-hand side. Zest is going to flank you with 2 High Templar.
He's going to be very, very careful about this. The Vikings go down, but that's a big storm to start things off. And actually not getting any more storms throughout that. All the Colossi have died off. Zest now trying to push forwards against the Bioforce that's big. The Vikings land as well, trying to get on top of this army here in game number 1. Supply count's pretty even. The Immortals are actually doing a lot in this army.
They don't know. SCVs have got to come help. They have to come help. The 3 Immortals dealing out so much damage.
Yeah, they've been the backbone of this army, and it's been hard to deal with. Here come the SCVs as Flash now tries to keep himself alive against this aggression we're seeing from Zest moving through the middle of the map.
You've got to target the Immortals down.
Right right now. They're not falling. They need to fall. He can get on top of them if he needs to, though. All the gateway forces are gone. The Immortals are going to disappear as well. And with these Zealots, that's all Zest really has at this point.
Look at the supply, 98 to 51s. Flash has got a squad up the north to take down that third Nexus. He doesn't do anything in this game, but he's going to bring it down anyway. And Flash is able to hold on versus that attack from Zest. And he's about to take map number 1 of the Grand Finals here. An excellent game here by Flash. Initial defense into the secondary follow-up. Beautiful play from him here.
Not many units left. This last Archon is really all that. There's a power punch. GG! Game number 1 goes to Flash.
It's happening. It's happening. Is this the tournament that you were all watching where Flash finally wins a StarCraft 2 tournament? He's played absolutely incredible so far, and he continues to show that form in the Grand Finals here. And he takes a game away from his opponent, Zest. And interesting enough, that's the first map officially that Flash has ever taken from Zest.
Yeah.
They've played 2 times before, and Zest has won 2-0 each time. And now Flash leads 1-0.
Zest has some ground to make up, but a best of 7 is a long road. That's just the beginning here for Flash. King Stage on Station will be our next map. As Zest, he's still no pushover. He brought a build to that game that, you know, once he didn't fully get the killing blow there with those Colossi early on, he had to resort to plan B. He didn't really want to have to resort to plan B, but that was the case. Countdown's begun for game number 2.
Is he going to be able to pick up the speed here, maybe take 2 games in a row? Or is Zest going to prevent that from happening? I guess we'll find out very, very shortly here. Looks like a couple of extra measurements need to be made by the ruler to make sure the keyboard's in the right position and angle.
Hey, if that makes me win championships, I'll you can give him all the time he needs. I mean, right now, 1 up against Zest, who always, always, always has seemed to do well against Flash. And now we just wait. Game number 2. Flash, if he goes the distance here, that means a lot to a lot of people, I think.
It means a lot to a lot of people. Already being in the final is a great achievement. Both of these players in the Grand Final, they qualify themselves for the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship by being in this final. So we will see both of these players in early next year when that World Finals comes around again. And of course, the WCS points important for Zest. He's in the middle of the top 16 ranking right now, but Flash, on the other hand, is nowhere near top 16. Winning this tournament is going to rocket him up higher with his points, and maybe the other dream that the Flash fans have is that somehow he can find his way to the global finals at BlizzCon later this year. This is a very good start for him, though.
Yeah, a good group in WCS Korea as well over there. So, finally getting on to game number 2 between these two. But again, a long road ahead of them. Flash taking that first game gives him a little bit of wind in his sails. Gives him a little bit of wind there.
Yes, it does. And I think he just, with that win, he can tell himself, I'm good enough to win this tournament.
All right, well, we're back into it. Game number 2, as we have, spawning up to the top left-hand corner, currently 1 game up. It is Flash. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Protoss, a former GSL champion. It's KT Zest.
Flash is willing to lose SCVs if that's what it takes.
Yeah.
He's willing to put their lives on the line to make sure he wins. And he did that twice there. Will we see it more throughout this series? Definitely could do it. Not so much in a defense. He could use them aggressively, and I would not... I would be surprised if we didn't see that at least once throughout this. But I'm sure Zest is very well practiced against that style as well, if we were to see Flash play incredibly aggressive. But Flash is aiming towards a command center first again here by the looks of it.
Yeah. Queuing up them SCVs, heading on down and having a look around. And in the end, you know, Flash, there's a fine line to draw between, do I pull SCVs at this point to defend? Do I not pull SCVs to defend at that point? Because if you do, and you actually do successfully defend, but you've lost a load of SCVs, it's like, oh, I'm a little bit hurt.
I think what Flash is doing here is picking up on a tell of his opponent. We don't really see Zest build a Zealot very often, so he's moving out an SCV very, very early here. He's going to go Command Center first, but I'm pretty sure he's also going to Engineering Bay block, probably without even scouting, and just say, well, let's hope he doesn't build that Engineering Bay, and I'm going to delay you from building that Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, he's done this in the past, right? We've actually seen him, even during qualifiers, bring this to the table. And Zest, he's completely unaware up until this probe heading down there to have a look, and there's no Zealot.
This probe moving down is... You know, but you can start to see maybe the small mind games between both of them. You know, Flash has said, all right, this guy doesn't, I know that he doesn't really build that Zealot very often, so I'm going to do this. And likewise, Zest is like, well, let me go check if he has built that Engineering Bay, if I do need to build that Zealot or not. And he is going to build it, so the delay is not too big. It is still existent, of course, but not as big as it could have been if that Zealot hadn't have been made.
Yeah, and in the end, you know, to Flash, that is really not a massive investment. He does technically, I mean, people just say, well, it's just the cancelled fee, but also that SCV could have been mining. So you do have to take that into consideration if he wasn't going to scout with it, I guess.
And the only downside to this for Flash really is that his barracks were a little bit late, but he doesn't really need them. Of course, there's no really super aggression coming out, so the command center was very well timed, so his economy goes unhindered throughout this, just the unit production a little bit.
And the SCV, well, this Engineering Bay will fall eventually, but you can already see the buildup of minerals in the right-hand side, on the top right. He's up to 500 before even is down. So there is, you know, a little bit of opportunity cost completely wasted there for Zest.
I think we might see a Stargate on the other side of the map. I'm not sure, but I think we might here.
In an interesting location.
In a very interesting location. When you got to be kidding me.
No. No.
You got... It's the robotics facility, and to be honest, I can't even explain that. I have no idea how he just decided to come around that left-hand side to spot that. And Flash picks up the tech structure scout on the other side of the map.
But what does Zest do now? What? If
it looks like he's still going to go for it here.
All right.
You'd imagine that this is going to be obviously an Immortal coming to play.
Okay. And Flash 100% knows what's going on this side of the map.
Well,
so he has ample time.
He goes in to see if it's still there, and he's like, it's still building, so I guess you're still going to do this? So the one thing you've got to be careful of, you need bunkers on both sides of the natural here, because the back rocks are going to get destroyed incredibly fast here when Immortals start coming and bursting through those back rocks.
And considering this position, I guess that's where he's going to be angle of attack is. It's actually really hard for the Protoss to go swing from one side to the other to actually continue attacking multiple angles.
So, you know, knowing is half the battle here. So Flash knows, but now can he stop it is the big question.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it a lot easier that he does know, but he still needs to make sure he doesn't die to this.
Well, adding on extra bunkers, plenty of Marines and Marauder coming out here with combat shields started, realizing, you know, we've talked about this at length when we've been casting Flash. Getting Stim is going to take a whole lot longer than it ever would to have the combat shields in this fight.
Yeah, this is, it can work in two ways here. Getting combat shields is risky because he's not going to have Stim at all to defend this. But he probably would die before Stim was even made, so he's just going to go for combat shields and hope he can get it. He moves down and sees a lack of probes on the natural. He knows his attack is going. He sees the no gases either. So at this point, well, let's just hope he makes the defense.
Well, here comes the small force now working on these rocks. It's only actually the two Immortals. They were prioritized. The 4 gateways behind this are just getting turned on, and will start warping in units very soon, but
the one thing is Flash doesn't really have many SCVs down on this natural, so he's going to have a hard time to repair these. I wonder if he'll bring some down from the main. I mean, he's only got 3 or 4 here, so...
I mean, force fields and 2 Immortals here can do a massive amount of work, so he has to be very careful. One Marine pokes forward, sees the imminent threat, and now... How is he going to work this?
Will he defend it? That's 3 Immortals. A 4th one is starting.
Only 2 SCVs are currently positioned at that bunker to be able to help this out. So a 3rd one comes in now. There's the Guardian Shield trying to focus down this first bunker. It's going to fall very, very rapidly. Those 3 Immortals bring it down fast, but there's nothing to tank for these units, really.
Well, he destroys the bunkers, but he doesn't destroy the army behind the bunkers.
And Flash is on the hunt. He is on the prowl. Well, he realizes there isn't that many gateway units, so he's going to try and go for this.
And he's going to move in now. There's the Time Warp activated. The 4th Immortal comes out, but he's going to target that one down quite fast.
All right, 1 Immortal falls. There's still 3 here, though, to chunk away at this army. A lot of Marines in there, though, as actually the Immortals weren't even focusing down on Marauders there for a second. They were killing Marines off. Second Immortal falls.
But does Flash have enough now? He's lost a lot to kill off those 2 Immortals, and there's still 2 left. 3 Zealots get warped in. No more bunkers were made throughout this, and Flash is down in supply. This very well may still work.
Yes, it may. As he cancels the bunkers, actually brings everything down and is going to retreat back to a better location for him, I suppose, because he knows that he can't hold at that ramp.
No, he can't. He started Stim, but he's down in supply. He's down in numbers.
Try and hold on against this once again. This command center is actually falling rapidly because of those shots from the Immortal.
This is a very strong choice of strategy by Zest, well executed so far, and it's working for him. He can tie this series up, but he just needs to finish Flash off.
The Immortals keep coming out. He's trying to get Stim at this point. He already has combat shield, so I guess if he does survive until Stim, it's going to be very difficult for Zest to ever break through. But he needs this bunker. He needs defense. He needs strong defense.
Flash cannot let his ramp be exposed here. He's got to be very careful.
That's true, because he can just keep force fielding these areas with the limited NG he has here.
Well, Stim is on its way. If Stim completes, this changes. This changes a lot. It's a long way away from completing, though.
Very, very scary here as he actually is going to go forwards. Guardian Shield activated, soak up the damage, trying to repair that bunker, trying to keep it alive during all of this. The firepower, though, brings it down there for Zest, as now the Zealots at the front still going to work on a lot of this army. Zest's execution of this tactic has been brilliant, and he's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah, these 3 Immortals just going to walk up inside the main base now, and this is it. Zest is going to come to try and turn this around. He's going to try and equalize the series. All the SCVs have been pulled off, but I don't think they're going to help too much here. This should be Zest game. It should be the way to equalize it. Stim is destroyed and cancelled, and now the GG must be called.
Zest ties it up 1-1. And after Flash was even able to spot that robo facility so early on, Zest was still able to make that work. So that was one hell of a scary build.
Yeah, I definitely feel that picking off those 2 Immortals and moving out like that was an overconfident move. He lost so much to pick off 2 Immortals while 2 remained alive, and he simply just didn't have enough units. He has to be very careful on those type of moves there, and I mean, don't want to criticize Flash. Of course, no one can do that, but I think that may have been the way that he died.
Well, 1-1 apiece. Again, best of 7. Long road ahead for both of these guys. Zest has the caliber of play, the potential of his play to also go the distance. It's not all about Flash. Flash is he's a cool guy, but Zest, he's a previous GSL champion. He is a guy that has proved himself time and time again. Not only was he GSL champion there, he also won another tournament right after that. So Zest was in monster mode then. He still has that form to a certain degree. Can he bring it and continue to bring it against Flash?
The 2nd place finisher today will walk away, of course, with $4,000. First place is $10,000. But of course, that's not what they're thinking about right now. They're thinking about how the hell can I beat this guy? Because it is a warfare here between these 2. KT boys, captain and best player, favorite player from Pro League Finals itself. It was the captain and MVP of the day, these 2. And they are showing that KT Rolsa is the best StarCraft 2 team right now, with having these 2 players qualify into the tournament and just go straight to the finals.
I mean, yeah, who can argue that, right?
Which one will have the pleasure, though, to walk out onto that stage, to grab that trophy, to have their name chanted by the Canadian crowd? Only one of them. The other, unfortunately, will be denied the tournament win. Flash wants this to be his first one. And he has traveled abroad a couple of times before. He's played in Intel Extreme Masters before. He played in New York last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't do too well there. And he finished 9th to 12th. And he's traveled over to Romania in Europe as well, where he got a 17th to 24th place finish. So he's had a couple of low finishes abroad. But of course, he did get to that MLG final over a year and a half ago. But here he is, wanting that win.
All right, game number 3. Spawning up to the top right-hand corner. You know his name, our blue Terran, representing KT Rolster. It is Flash. And down to the south, our red Protoss, tying up the series 1-1 in this best of 7. Give it up for Zest!
All right, this is where the best of 7 series, or not, this is, I think I can say, this is where the best of 7 series starts to unfold with major strategical differences.
Yes.
The longer the series goes, the more adapting we'll see from both players, because they'll start to have a feel of how their opponent's playing today in this best of 7. So are we going to see some more aggressive tendencies? Is Flash going to go aggressive himself? Does Zest? Are they just going to do the same thing again and wait for a couple more games? Remember, in a best of 7, when 2 good, high-level StarCraft players play against each other in this scenario, they must enter with a plan from the start to the end, from map 1 to map 7. If you go into the series and play it out exactly the same every single game, then you will get exploited. Weaknesses will become completely out there, and they will be taken, well, they'll get picked up on for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree. And let's look at how the first 2 steps of this best of 7 have unfolded. We saw Zest, game 1, going for something pretty aggressive off 2 base. It's a very aggressive opener. You don't have so many upgrades to fall back to, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Game 2, proxy robo into Immortals. To you, how does the image of Zest, it looks a little bit scared to go into the later games against Flash here.
Or he just wants to surprise Flash a little bit, because Zest doesn't really do this very often. That's not typically what we see from him a lot. He favors the blink defensive play, maybe with a bit of aggression depending on how he feels the game is going, and then into dragging it long. I don't think he should be afraid of taking it long, because that's where he does win most of his Protoss versus Terran games. If he was afraid to take it long, then Flash, all he would need to do is defend and just win the game out.
That's true. That is true. And these two know each other better than pretty much anybody else, right? Because they are on the same team, because they probably do practice with one another. And looking around here, trying to get himself an SCV. Denying a little bit of time on this command center is a good start there for Zest, but plenty of SCVs to shoo that away in the end.
And Flash, not cutting corners here, is building a bunker immediately on that low ground next to his command center, because if there were to be rushed out stalkers or mothership cores to get over the other side of the map, he would take damage, and actually you can lose the game from that point without a bunker. So he is playing safe there, and that's something we can definitely say about Flash as a player too. He's very safe. He takes the necessary precautions at all times. Very rarely skips corners.
The big question for me is, when is Zest going to throw down that Twilight Council up to the top left? Because that's normally what he ends up doing on this. He really, really likes Twilight Council on this map. We've seen it time and time again. Stalkers are already out. Flash is trying to be a bit sneaky here with the SCV. It may have just been spotted for a brief second by that mothership core, but I'm in it.
The favored tech choice here by Zest. Seemingly his go-to tech choice, more so than not, and it is going to be the Twilight Council, so we'll be looking more than likely at Blink. Right now, Flash, hiding an SCV there. That's not what I'm thinking for him to go scout the natural to see what's around. I think he's actually looking to scout the third base.
It's going to get spotted.
It's also going to get...
Oh!
No. The Stalker just...
Very
just
close.
misses it there. Flash hiding that SCV. I think he knows his opponent's timings of when the third base goes down. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
And he'll move down there, and he'll spot it, then he'll know exactly what he's playing against without seeing anything inside the main base here.
Exactly. The SCV is already actually moving.
No, he's moving a little bit earlier for what I was talking about, so...
Yeah, because the Nexus isn't going to be going down this early. The gateways have to be added on for this kind of blink play that is normal for Zest to come out.
Yeah, he's going to get denied here, unfortunately. He's Flash, so he doesn't get too much information. The second Stalker hidden there, as you saw, he pulled it back, so Flash gets no information there on his opponent, unfortunately. And there's 3 gateways being built. Second bunker and second SCV going out to scout.
Yeah, it was a nice little attempt there from Flash. But the thing is that if I know that Twilight Council is Zest's flavored build on this map, then Flash probably knows that Twilight Council is his favorite build on this map. So pylons are already littering the field.
Yeah, I mean, he's got, you know, the double bunkers down. He doesn't have any units around the mineral lines in case it was an Oracle. And he's got double bunkers on the front and then units inside the main. His unit positioning screams that he knows he's playing against Blink without seeing it, of course, just because, as you said, he knows what what Zest likes.
And that's a lot of pylons moving forwards towards his base. How many gateways does he have in total? It's like 4, right? So
Yeah, 4 in total.
Yeah.
Decent amount of Stalkers here. Flash has to react fast. He knows the units are outside his main base, so you never see two Stalkers like that outside your main base if nothing's going on. So it's a little bit weird for him to see that there, so he knows that he has to be a little bit careful.
Needs to distribute his units in the right locations to be able to greet this. Right now he has a lot of Marines in the main base. Stim is 2/3 of the way through. And if he can buy time for Stim to finish up, then that makes this hold a whole lot easier.
Yeah, Zest has a look inside the main. He's going to notice that all the units are there in the main, not on the natural. First bunker down, but immediately to the second. And that's an expected attack there in defense from Flash. Doesn't want to lose more, though.
No. Another bunker would be quite painful, but loses an SCV during all of that. Zest realizes he's not going to take it down when that many SCVs repairing, so looks for alternate opportunities. Goes in once again, tries to get a few more of these SCVs, pushes those away.
Yeah, there's a lot of lack of mining time here for Flash. Having so many SCVs being pulled to repair the bunker, and if they're not there, then the bunker will go down. Smart play from Zest. Third Nexus has been placed at the 9-minute mark here.
But look at this, third command center got placed as well during all of this. Anyway, trying to bring down the bunker, does get it, but that army now is too strong. Stim is finished, it's going to be difficult to break. Flash knows that his opponent isn't fully committing to that behind everything, so goes for the command center as well. He's pushing forwards though.
Nice trades by Zest. Good micro by Zest, only taking mostly shield damage there.
Finishing up these pylons at the front. A little bit more damage will occur. Robo Bay is the follow-up here for Zest.
Yeah, he's going to be getting towards Colossus now. With the third base down, this is what he likes to use. This is his build for this tournament, and he's used it consistently. 3 extra gateways coming in to make sure he does have enough units for the time that Flash will move out, which is going to be very, very soon. Interestingly, though, he's gone straight for 2 medivacs, then straight over to Vikings.
Wow.
Really fast Vikings here. Usually, you'd see more commonly the Terran play going up for 4 medivacs. But it's just 2 straight over to Vikings.
And I still don't think there's any forges, right?
No. With this build, you get them. He'll get one soon, but
yeah,
it should be just a single one in a little bit here.
So adding on those 3 gateways now. Pylons up to the top left-hand corner. Always good for spotting out drops later on. Also for alternate attack paths with a few zealots. Extra gateway got added on as well just then. But for the most part, just fueling this 3-base economy.
And I wonder if Zest's going to attack here. I mean, he's got all these pylons on the left-hand side, but he's not building probes towards that 3rd base, and he's just kind of adding on Stalkers. And he's moving out into the middle of the map. Of course, that blink is going to be super effective against Vikings. He is getting super aggressive here.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, just the way the army's moving around. But Flash started Vikings quite early on, so that is good for him. But if he makes any army mistake, any army movement mistake, because he doesn't really know what's going on precisely, then clearly the Colossus are going to do a lot.
It's like casting this game. It's not often you actually have this feeling, but he's seen very little of his opponent's infrastructure in its entirety, almost nothing. Yeah. But he knows every step of the build of his opponent because of how well he knows his opponent anyway. So preparing for the Vikings at this particular time.
2 starports now. I mean, the longer this game goes on, the faster the Colossus just die here. There's only 2 of them. Zest has a look at this army and he's like, oh god, there's already 6 Vikings.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Tries to poke forwards, but those 6 Vikings are going to do a lot of work against that Colossus. He only needs to kill one of them, and then it's only gateway forces here. Time Warps as well as Force Fields trying to hold this back, but in the end, actually, the Colossus, well, this is the next one, but he's just going to get pushed back. He has no army at all.
I don't think Zest was quite expecting this from Flash, and Flash has just kind of walked over this quite easily. He's killed both the Colossus, and now he's going to pick up this gateway army. There's still a lot of gateways behind this, but as long as Flash keeps on building units here, his income has been untouched, and he should just be able to walk over this.
Just perfect execution in the end to push this away. And again, he's seen 0 in his opponent's base. He prepared for the Twilight Council. He prepared for the Robo Bay follow-up. He prepared with the 3rd base going down after he realized very quickly that the Stalker attack wasn't going to be the ultimate end game here of Zest. This is a very impressive game by Flash.
And all he needs to do now is slam dunk this one home, because he's in the driving seat. He's got 70 supply advantage. He's at 82 army supply to 34. There's no upgrades. There's no Colossus. Zest is going to go for one last-ditch attack, and you can hardly call this an attack anymore, unfortunately, and Flash just needs to realize where the army is, go over there, hit the T button on the keyboard, which is Stim for his units, and he should be able to walk over this.
easily chasing down this army. Blinkstalker's going to try and go for some odd trades in the main, but the reinforcements are there. Flash pulls the SCVs as well to shut this down. Good force field to hold these guys out, but in the end, this is all Zest has left. A few more Stalkers here trying to blink back against this army.
And it looks like Flashman is going to jump straight back into the lead here. He's landed his Vikings, and this is going to put him into the lead once again, like he was at the start.
GG. And I can't help but feel that in game number 3, Flash read Zest like a book.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Zest was expecting Flash to maybe be a little bit further behind than he was through the SCVs that were pulled off and repairing, and the income kind of halted a little bit. But Flash was fine. I mean, he didn't really even know that attack was coming. He was like, all right, here it is. There it isn't. And he dealt with that rather well. It looks like Flash is giving us all a wink, saying that things are all okay. And he is going to drive this one home. 2-1 to Flash, first to 4.
He's halfway there.
He's halfway there.
All right, Deadwing is going to be our map for game number 4. As, again, it's very rare you cast games like that, where you have just... Flash saw nothing of his opponent's structural integrity at his base, but was just so prepared for everything.
Alrighty-ho. Game number 4 is upon us. Deadwing is the next map here. This is usually vetoed out by players in this tournament, but it is here now, of course, with 7 maps in the map pool. No vetoes. Every single map will be played. And now, is Zest going to equalize this, or not? It looks like Flash has just walked off the stage here, and probably is going to get some water or something for the next part, but we'll see how long he'll be. But I wonder what Zest is now thinking. He's got to stay calm, he's got to stay focused, he's got to play his normal game. So, we'll see.
I would love to see how Zest would fare in a longer game. Just actually focusing towards the longer game, even if it's just a single forge, or, well, I think getting away with double forge could quite take its toll later on, we'd see, but just try and go for it. I mean, it's a best of 7. Try and feel it out a little bit, but then again, if he does lose this next game, it's 3-1. There's only 1 game left for Flash to win. So it's at this point now, even in this best of 7, where Zest really has to consider his options.
Well, thank you very much, everyone in the audience, for coming out here today to watch this awesome StarCraft tournament. There is a lot of you out there. And let's enjoy this one together. As both these players have requested a quick break, so we will be jumping into this when they do return. But so far, Canada has been pretty amazing, Kolaris.
Yes, it has.
It's been very good to us here at the Intel Extreme Masters. It's been fantastic.
It's true. It's very hard to meet anybody that isn't extremely, extremely happy, which is a good thing.
Everyone's just happy here, man.
Yeah.
This is a happy place.
Yeah.
All right, well, one of these players isn't going to be happy because could see one of them eliminated soon. But which one do you think is going to win or lose this? Do you think that this is a Flash final, or is this a Zest final?
Judging by the games that we've seen so far, Flash is looking on point, while Zest is bringing aggression that is being read into very, very well. Flash looks buckled down. This could be Flash's tournament.
I think if the series continues the way it's going, it's Flash's win.
Yes.
If it starts to change back to what Zest usually does a lot more, then I think it's going to start to even up and even could go Zest's way.
I mean, that's what I was expecting coming into the series. I was expecting him to push towards the macro game a little bit earlier, actually, than the first 3 games. Well, I mean, in those first 3 games, to kind of really get a feel out. Because if you do win one of those...
Yep.
And then you can continue doing that on. It's not as impactful as if you try it later on, it completely fails, and then you're another game down in a position where Flash would only have 1 map left.
I'm going to imagine that is one of the players returning back, and I'm going to guess it's Flash, as he was the one who stepped out of his booth. He's got a lot of fans here in Canada, but he's also got a lot of fans worldwide, and everyone hoping and cheering that he's able to bring down this tournament and claim his first ever StarCraft 2 championship. And it's funny to say that he hasn't won a tournament yet, unfortunately, but through a lot of hard work over the last 12 months or so, he started to become the player he used to be. And that is kind of the best way to describe him right now. He's returning to former glory. And for any of you who didn't or don't know who this guy is, he's a living legend of StarCraft. StarCraft Brood War, an absolute legend, won so many tournaments, was the most dominant player ever in the game. But then when the StarCraft 2 game was released and he switched over to it, it did take a difficult and a long period to actually get good at this one.
Yeah.
To change all the patterns that he built over the 10 years playing Brood War, to get out of all that old habits, to play a completely different game. You know, he's had sparks of brilliance throughout his career for sure, where he's looked amazing and everyone thought this was the time. But this is the time now.
Yes.
This is the time. He's dominating in Pro League. He's dominating here at this tournament. He's doing well in GSL as well. But Zest is a player who has won 2 tournaments already in StarCraft 2. He won them this year as well, so he's no stranger to victories.
Well then, game number 4. Let's get into it. Deadwing is our map, as we have spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner. It's our blue Terran. It is Flash. And up to the top right, our red Protoss trying to bring it back here in this best of 7. It's KT Zest.
Yeah, to go back to that point, I have to, say it again. Zest needs to go back to his longer, drawn-out games. To defend across 3 bases, to then start to, combine Colossus and High Templar together to make that ultimate army. That's where he's best, I feel. Flash knows kind of all his tricks. He's scouting out all in the right places. He kind of knows all his builds and what to expect from him. So I think playing a normal game, and this is the perfect map to do it on as well. It's easy to access, 2, 3, 4 bases. It's easier to defend across them as well. So this would be the map where the pace of the game should slow down. Whether it does or not, it's a very different story, but I guess we're here to find out.
In the past games, or past couple of them, Flash has had clairvoyance almost, actually been able to read Zest very, very well. And the resurgence of Flash that we have seen over these past couple of months could culminate right now in a tournament victory that he has been after ever since the beginning of StarCraft 2. I mean, with all of that.
He's been wanting a StarCraft 2 victory before the game even came out, Kalaris.
Yeah, true.
This guy is StarCraft, and
yes,
that's what he does is win. But this map is very important. This map is very, very important for Zest. Because if he loses this, he goes down 3-1. And it is so hard to be able to make that comeback. He would need to win 3 games in a row against a player like Flash, who's absolutely incredible. It's not going to be easy. And he puts himself in a very, very difficult position. Win this now, tie it up, then start thinking about what to do for the rest of the series.
Zest for now, sending his probe down to the natural. Gonna maybe hide it behind the mineral line to... Well, no, he's not actually going to do it. He's just going to try and go straight for the Nexus before the SCV even gets there. It's very close, but in the end, the Nexus will go down before anything happens. So no block off here for Flash. But at least Flash gets the scout first. Up in one of those 2 left, top, right locations. That's where you can only spawn. And this is the gateway for now.
Yeah, and he's pulling back with his SCV. The Reaper is going to do the follow-up scouting here. He's going to go in, just check a couple of things, see what's up, see what's there inside the main base, and of course keep that alive to come out, to then go back in again to make sure he can find out what tech structure it is. And I wonder if Zest is going to pull any tricks. I don't think so. I think it should be just a robotics facility coming in. But if he tries something else, then Flash's Reaper is there to find out what's up.
That's true, and he's only so far noted 2 locations of pylons, seeing the one to the bottom left, seeing one up to the top right because there's a gateway next to it, so that one's kind of obvious, as is normally the wall going down. But hasn't seen his 3rd pylon just yet. He can probably assume Zest almost always spreads his 3 pylons out early in this kind of triangular formation, always 2 on the proximity of his base, so Flash probably knows where the other one is actually.
So far, so standard from both sides here. 3 barracks, which is quite common. And then the robotics facility, which is the most common tech structure here. It's the most standard, it's not super aggressive, or it shouldn't really be super aggressive. It can be, though. And then we'll just see very shortly the gases on the natural taken here for Zest to further bring in gas, which means he can tech further up towards the, robotics bay, for example, or towards forges. A couple of other angles to go.
For now, the Reaper's just chilling out at the front, really not looking for any opportunities. Combat shields, once again, is the choice here for Flash. I guess it is just a precautionary measure at this point, just in case something were to occur.
This is what I said in the other map here, is combat shields can work two ways. It can be used defensively, as we've seen by Flash before, but it can also be used aggressively. Combat shields can finish as you start to move out with a second Marauder and get to your opponent's base, and then it obviously adds extra hit points to your Marines to then do damage, or survive more to do more damage to your opponent, depending on if he's greedy or not. Can mean how, you know, if he can get in. And Flash is going to move out now. Should be with 2 Marauders and a handful of Marines.
Here comes the Robo Bay for Zest. So he's already made his tech choice to really start things off here. He's almost always using it, even if it's not just to actually push across himself, but it's for the defensive posture of having a Colossus out early to deal with anything that would come along.
And Flash just goes in and just scouts the gas. That's all he wanted to look at, to know if he was playing against aggression or not. If there's a gas there, he knows his opponent's teching. If there isn't, he knows that there's more than likely going to be gateways, which means he doesn't go in with this attack. So he's going to move forward. He will try. Combat shields is done. Look how perfectly timed it is. Just outside his opponent's base, combat shields done.
Yeah.
Now time to go in.
Looks to poke forwards here. Mothership Core has to keep itself alive during all of this because it needs phone overcharge. Phew! Okay, gets that off, but at the same time, he's still going to take a little bit of damage here. Quite a lot, in fact. He doesn't really have that many gateway units. Where are they?
Why can I never do this when I'm playing Terran? He's just killed the Mothership Core, and look at this, he's killing so many probes here.
11 workers gone down, and even then, he's going to be able to get out with a lot of these. He can even just kill off probe after probe, and that is a big blow there for him. Nice force fields to try and catch some of this, but he doesn't want to bring the probes there. He wants to get those out of there.
Yeah, this is just an absolutely fantastic start here for Flash. 16 workers killed, Mothership Core down. Wonderful, wonderful move. And he knows his units are more than likely going to die, so he's going to try and trade off where he can. If he can get that last Stalker or Sentry.
Ooh, good
Very
micro by Zest there in the end. And will eventually win out that small little skirmish at the end of it, but overall, yeah, 1,000 to 1,000. So much of that was probes, which are worth a lot more when it comes to the income.
You can't be losing 16 probes in a game at this level. So he's severely hurt now. Flash has got a major income advantage because he lost his workers there. And now we're going to see Flash start to get ready to move out again soon. The Mothership Core is going to be down, and well, it's out now, but it's not going to have double photon overcharge. It may have a single one. But what happens if that's used on the natural and then Flash drops in the main? Usually you could have 2. Usually you'd have full energy by the time this attack comes out. Unfortunately not. Zest, by the way, isn't even going to stick with Colossus. He's made a big tech switch here. He's gone for Zealot Charge and also adding in Immortals.
I think he has to do something a little bit feisty here to try and keep himself in this game. He lost what he would needed to have, and in the end, I mean, he would have seen the Robo Bay with all of that poking around, right? So he was already transitioning onto Vikings in preparation to be hit by something like that later on.
The big problem is Zest's army is 1 Colossus, 1 Sentry, and 1 Immortal. He just doesn't have anything. And unfortunately for him, he doesn't even know about this drop coming. So he's not really in position either. Actually, excuse me, he does have 4 Stalkers here.
But can they even stop this drop? He could actually just fly in if he really wanted to. He's just going to drop straight on top of it. Here's Flash. He realizes that there's a big opportunity to do some damage to those Stalkers. If he could get that Colossus, he needs to be careful with the Colossus. He needs to keep that alive as well. Colossus for Bio is a good trade. Flash gets it. And with that, he brings down that number and the power behind the Protoss army.
And most importantly, he sees the transition. He knows his opponent's in middle of building a different type of army than usual. He doesn't need to build Vikings. He's got another army ready outside this main base. Photon Overcharge is activated, but Flash does stim forward.
Decides to get out of there. As Photon Overcharge, a bit annoying, actually killing off the Observer, realizing it's there as well.
But 3rd command center down, 4 additional barracks in, 2nd starport being played. Everything Flash is doing right.
And it's spiraling out of control for Zest.
Look at this pylon block by Zest, 76 supply, needs to build 2 additional pylons at the same time, cannot build any units until those pylons complete. His army is already so small, 76 supply to 101. The question I'm starting to ask myself, is Zest starting to choke here? Is he starting to feel the pressure? Remember when he played against Tasia in Shenzhen? It was Zest. And then Tasia goes, get out the way, bro. 3-0, see you later. And it was over. And we're starting to see mistakes creep in here by Zest.
Feedbacks. To be fair, those medevacs aren't as high as they need to be for the damage to be done, but still looks for another opportunity. isn't going to drop there just yet. He would take a lot of free damage from those Immortals, but Storm is the key. Storm is the key for Zest here to really try and bring himself back in, but he needs to defend this location first.
Zest has to defend for the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes even. He needs to just sit down, don't take damage, survive. He has double forwards coming into play. Eventually he will go back into Colossus here, but he needs to not take damage. Flash is all about doing damage now. He's got a bigger income, he's got a bigger army, and he's gonna start to spread his opponent thin, who's attempting to take 3 bases.
Tries to go for the feedbacks, but it's not enough to kill off these medevacs. It brings them down on energy, thus this bio won't survive for as long, but it's so much damage in this. He's actually gonna try and go for the Nexus, bring down that Nexus, and he could do so much economical damage to Zest here. He gets it as the army now trying to get out of here. The Storm misses, and Zest is scrambling.
And again, Zest takes another big hit. He cannot keep taking these because what will happen eventually is Flash will consume him. He'll have too many units. He'll overwhelm his third. What is there right now? When you look at, Zest's army, 2 High Templar. Just 2 High Templar. They've used energy already. That is his only real splash damage. There are, 11 Zealots, which are going to get gutted as soon as they charge into the Terran army because it's so big. You do have 5 Immortals, but what happens if Ghosts are there?
Yeah, exactly.
What happens if they get EMP'd? You die.
And what happens when this follow-up push of just brute force, a sledgehammer through the middle of the map comes once Flash is content and happy with his position? There was still another pylon block there for Zest. He had to add on 3, 4 pylons to get out of that. He is feeling the pressure right now as Flash is exerting himself upon the Protoss location. It's very, very difficult here for Zest to get out of this hole he's built.
And to come back to the statement I said at the start of this game, this is so important for Zest not to lose this. Losing this means Flash goes up 3 games to 1, and he's staring at just a single map to be the Intel Extreme Masters champion here in Toronto. And it's looking more and more likely the way this single map here is playing out. It just looks like Flash is meant to be the champion currently. He's beaten so many good players on the way to the final, and he's outplaying, even exploiting Zest at this point. And here comes this push. If Zest doesn't hold on, the game is going to end. Zest right now is clumped up. He's got to be so careful because there are Ghosts, there are EMPs. These EMPs land, this army is butter.
The High Templars are the one opportunity here to try and get himself into this. A Storm misses, not a good start for Zest. EMP hits though! A great EMP to start this engagement off for Flash. Another EMP rains down on this army as well. He's going to be right on top of it. There's so much power behind this Bioforce, pushing on through. A Storm to try and push him away there, but EMPs continue to land. The Gateway Force is going to fall. Even Vikings at the back as well here in game number 4 as Flash is really pounding away at the Protoss here. It's very difficult. GG! Flash takes game number 4 as he absolutely tears Zest apart.
It's happening. It's happening. Flash is on his way to a tournament trophy here. Zest somehow needs to drop the anchor to prevent this from happening. Unbelievable games here from Flash. Really, really good. He's solid. He's executing everything perfectly. Really good play from him so far today.
3 games to 1 now, as Flash is 1 match away from being crowned the Intel Extreme Masters Toronto champion. Zest, on the other hand, has got a lot of work to do. A lot of work.
I can't even imagine what's going through Zest's mind right now. But he's got to start to figure out a plot to stop Flash, otherwise this will be a 4-1. There's no doubt in my mind, if Zest does not change something drastically coming into this next one, it will be 4-1.
He's relying on linchpins. He's relying on, unfortunately for him, linchpins that keep getting taken away. Look at that game, just there. The 1 Colossus that was out whilst that transition, that was his linchpin to a defense earlier on. Goes, dies off, doesn't have the support. There, obviously, at the very, very end, the 2 High Templars, his linchpin, both of them were hit by 1 EMP alone. Zest is not in a good place right now. Match number 5 is going to be on Nimbus between Zest and Flash, and as you said, for Flash here, right now, he could make this championship a reality.
All right, well, Zest, just to update some of you guys, has requested the air condition be changed. For the good or the bad, I'm not too sure if he wants it cooler or not. But just take a quick second before getting into this. Of course, a massive thank you to Infeza, our observer, who's been slaving away in the back the entire tournament long. We as commentators, Colaris, get breaks, but there's only one Infeza, there's only one observer, and he's been making that work done. So thank you very much, Infeza. But I'm sure you love it all the same.
Yeah. He's a StarCraft fan just like everybody else. He's loving watching these games backstage as our KT players take some water and get ready for game number 5 now. Match point. One game away for this man on screen right there. What it would do for him taking his first StarCraft 2 championship at a tournament this stacked.
Do you think he kisses the trophy if he wins it?
He has to, right?
He has to? You think he does?
I think he has to.
Well, I guess we might find out after, Colaris. We'll see, though. Zest has definitely got it within him to be able to pull a series like this back. But currently, 3 games to 1, just a single map now. And Flash is the Intel Extreme Masters champion. We'll see. We will see. The next map is going to be Nimbus. And we will load into this in a short second now. Flash winning a StarCraft 2 tournament. I still remember the days when StarCraft 2 was released, and I was saying to myself, you know, one day I hope we get to see players like Jaedong and Flash play this game. They're still messing around in Brood War playing that game, but one day will we see it? We've seen Jaedong lift the trophy. We've not seen Flash, but this could be it. Well, let's find out. Can Zest turn this around? He has to turn this around. He needs to turn this around.
And let's get into it. Game number 5. Match point as we have spawning to the bottom right-hand corner. It is Flash. And to the top right-hand corner. Getting shaken about a bit, really needs to bring it back here. It is Zest.
All right, so I would imagine this is the time where Zest just breathes out slowly and says, "This is it, man. This is where I have to change this game. There's no more mistakes. There's no more room for error, unfortunately." You do have that, of course. Flash has got a lot of room for error, man.
Yeah.
He could do anything. Doesn't really matter.
Do whatever he wants at this point.
He's got 3 games to his name here.
Yeah.
Of course, we need to see Zest win 3 games in a row. This really, really doesn't happen very often.
But all importantly here, I feel that in a best of 7, a player like Zest, I think anybody in this situation, in Zest's shoes, has to have the mental fortitude to power through. How tough that has to be to actually push back against the power that we're seeing from Flash right now. Zest is up against it, so up against the ropes that this is going to take a lot of stamina from Zest.
If there's any doubt that Zest has, I mean, it's already over. So he's got to be so careful not to let that happen. But we are going to see just the normal opening from Flash. It will be the Reaper expansion with that pocket back base where you can just easily throw that command center down nice and fast. He's going to scout north with an SCV while sending, or waypointing, should I say, the barracks for the Reaper to go left. But of course, he will change that up and go north very, very shortly here. And Zest has opened up with just a standardized build as well. He's going to be looking to take his Nexus on the higher ground. But one big point of contention that we'll see in this map is Zest's natural. It's pointing towards Flash. Flash can easily drop down there throughout the game, so that needs to be a well-defended area. And even if it's not just a direct drop, what you often see on a map like this on Nimbus, when Zest starts to take his third and is defending more so out in the open, Flash can literally stand outside the third, boost, and find himself on the second base immediately.
Yeah.
So it's going to be definitely, we need to see Zest play a very, very good defensive game, unless he does try to play aggressive. And already a probe. Just small. No way.
Oh, no, not 2.
Oh, he's already lost 2 probes. Already lost 2 probes, and you should never, ever have this happen.
And you don't want to let this shake you. And it can earlier on. Got to be careful here as Zest, who is up against it. Flash now. No.
Well, hello there, Flash. We have a very fast third command center from Flash here on the other side of the map, which is not going to get spotted easily. And it's a very smart move from Flash. Think about everything we've been saying around Zest for the last minute or two or the last couple of games. He needs to play it cautiously, sit back, defend, play his normal game. Flash is saying to himself, all right, this guy's, you know, down 3-1, man.
Yeah.
I'm owning this guy. He's probably scared of me. Let me just go ahead and do this. And by taking this expansion, he's completely playing the complete opposite. The opposite of what Zest is expecting here. The only way that Zest can really read into this is if he has an observer inside the main base, which is going to take a very long time, and there's no way to punish this. If Zest had chosen an aggressive strategy in the blind, that is how to punish this. You cannot reactionary do anything about it. There's nothing you can do here. This is a very smart, played out strategy here from Flash, and just the thought process behind it is incredibly smart.
Even if you have an observer in there having a look around, you still have to find it eventually as well. Down to a corner of the map where you're not really focusing much of your attention on, as Zest now sending an observer out on the left-hand side in an interesting direction.
Yeah, I'm so impressed. This is such a good move here.
Yeah.
Flash is sending a Marine to see like if there's a fast super third from his opponent, and can even start to walk into the main. Or I suppose he could try. He'd probably just get killed off quite fast.
Thankfully for him,
but, I mean, if you look at Zest, well, this can actually... He might scout this third command center. If you look at Zest's vision, he doesn't know where Flash is. The Marine came from the top left, which would suggest that Flash could have been top left. So the observer's pattern is going to go top left. Oh, he's not there. Never mind. Let me go check the bottom left. Or does he go cross?
Oh, he's going cross, I think.
Okay.
Considering, I guess he's basing this on the speed at which he saw the Reaper earlier on, right? Yeah. Like, why would it have come across positions or anything like that?
Yeah.
So,
oh, look at this scan. Sees the robotics bay, but more importantly, sees the Forge and the Twilight Capsule. So Zest's choice has been chosen and seen straight away.
Well, what you were saying before about Zest playing the style he's playing and then Flash reacting to that, Zest has to bring out his best game right now. Otherwise, he is done. Absolutely done. And Flash, a little bit of supply block for a second.
I wonder if Flash is going to look out for observers if they come in and just scan and kill it, but that's not even the case here. I mean, is he going to send one in? You'd usually expect it. I wonder if Flash snipes the observer to keep any, you know, thinking that Zest could do to figure this out, because the starport's quite late. I mean, he could put this together that there could be a third somewhere.
And all this defensive stance with the 4 observers, I mean, like, yes, they're useful later on, but it's money that he's invested into for a push or information about a push that's never really going to come, because Flash playing super economically back B with this third command center. So it's an investment, and of course it does keep him warded later on, but still, you've got to factor these things earlier on to the game.
So Zest should know that there is a third. Well, he could know, should I say, is the better way to say it, because he sees that the starport is quite late here, and unless Flash made a mistake and just didn't build it at the right time, that could be the case where he might be masked by that. There is a real, or should I say fake third coming in, which I think is going to completely trick him. He's going to go down and, well, actually he doesn't see it. I don't think Zest knows though. No. I don't think he knows. He hasn't clicked.
He hasn't sent anything on a trajectory to any other location right now.
Yeah,
so
it's really hard to be able to figure this out just by seeing a later starport.
And, well,
very good game for Flash though, because he's going to be very powerful here. He's going to be able to burst through the middle stages of this game with a very large army
that is just not prepared for at all. I mean, will Zest even have the economy to deal with it? At least now the observers are giving him a little bit of protection here, as the Stalkers do get warped in and will push this away. But again, Flash doesn't necessarily need to do damage with this drop. He's just, at the moment, selling an image.
All right, well, this is a slow game here as map number 5 gets past the 10-minute mark now, just because of the way Flash is played and the way that Zest is playing quite defensive here. As Zealot is looking around, and he is going to find it eventually there. So smart moves by Zest. I think he maybe have thought about it a little bit, and he's going to have a look around. He takes his third anyway. but there's really not much he can do about it. I guess the Zealot could start chopping away, but then again, the SCVs could probably just surround and kill it.
And in the end, this base has pretty much paid for itself already, considering how long it's been up and running and active. And those SCVs can get away pretty fast as well, unless the entire army was there to try and intercept it, so he can just transfer those over to his third base, if that were to even be shut down.
All right, well, Flash really rocketing up in supply now. 136 to 106 now. It's going to keep on rising. A scan from Flash, I think, just eliminates an observer over his armies. We did hear that. But Zest finds it. And this is where you are like, oh, God, no. How long? Oh, no, this has been here for a long time. And this is a very difficult thing to see. Of course, Flash now just evacuates and send the command center back.
It's so funny, though, because he can even just land at the 4th base location, and because his army's so big now, it's fine. It's totally fine. But he's actually going to go to combat with this.
He thought about bringing it back, but he's just going to surround the Zealot and then go back to work anyway. Got a couple of kills there. But this is the big part of this now. Is Zest, what does he do? Do you go and attack your opponents on 4 bases, but you can't attack, though? Then do you sit back and then hope to try and defend an army that's going to be bigger than it should ever be at this part of the game? This is going to be really hard. Look at Flash's supply.
It's getting ridiculous. It's actually getting ridiculous.
92 army supply to 57 through having this extra base so early on. I don't understand, and I'm trying to figure out how the hell Zest will win this fight with having so little. Flash scans and is like, okay, he's on Colossus, he's got a couple of High Templar. He must have just started them because they are low in energy. But he doesn't have a lot, does he?
It's got to be Storm again. It has to be Storm.
He needs to hit the Storms.
Yes.
You're correct. That is the way.
Ghost Academy has just finished up. Ghosts are going to be added to this army very soon. Flash could even go with these initial Ghosts and cause a lot of disruption to Zest here, as the timer is now against Zest, because as Flash is nearing that max out, Zest's hopes are dwindling.
Yeah, he needs to have flanking High Templar. He needs to have the best engagement. He needs to find a miracle. He needs to have the best type of engagement he could ever wish for. Flash's army's massive. He's at 190 supply now, closing in on the 200. He scans, has a look again. He goes, there's my ticket to the championship, because that army's way small.
That army is tiny, completely tiny in comparison to the army of Flash that is now on the war march.
6 extra barracks as well. So the funny thing is, even if he fights, and let's say they trade off and they go back with bruises and bandages, by the time the reinforcements or the troops that are injured go back, they will come with another 200 army supply. Another scan, another feel out of his opponent's army. Zest needs to find himself at 200 supply fast. He has to get up there.
There are 8 High Templars so far on the field. Probably some of them are even kept back to actually try and, deny any drops that were going along, but that's not going to be the case. Flash is probably just going to go for a big...
Yeah, I think he's going to wait until he can get to 2-2, I think. Oh my God.
What? I don't know if he has to do this. I don't know if he has to actually do that. He actually is going to drop. There's a lot of those that high. Good Storms there to start things off, but at the same time, the High Templars are going to end up falling. He's also pushing on the left-hand side.
There's no anti-air.
He's killing off all the Colossus. If he gets the others as well, the Storms are able to do quite a bit of damage, but the Bio has broken the back base.
Yeah, the Stalkers went back to defend, which means this Nexus is going to be destroyed, and Zest cannot afford to have this destroyed. He needs the money, and it shall fall. This is a big win for Flash. One step closer to winning this tournament. He's going to go back, and like I said before, 6 barracks were added on to however many he already had. He has so much supply. He's already at 170 once again after losing quite a bit there, and he's going to go. He sees his opponent's army's weak. He knows the income is even weaker now than it was in comparison. And this is it. Oh my God, 2,200 minerals per minute compared to 13.
He can't compete with that. He can't compete. He's going to have to somehow, but there's 4 Vikings on the way at any given time, trying to bring down those costs.
Back to 200 supply. He's at 2-2 upgrades. This is it. This is where he comes for the win. Can Zest stop this? But I don't think he can. It's coming. Flash is coming for his championship. He wants to be the Intel Extreme Masters champion of Toronto.
If he lands those EMPs, it's lights out for Zest here. He needs the splash damage. He needs to hold off this push. Flash is going to be a little bit cautious, pulling back there for a second.
He's having a look.
He throws his scan. He actually got 1 snipe on that High Templar.
Stalker's getting picked off quite easily there. Flash is going to dodge.
One of the High Templars falls. Second one tries to get a stun, but that falls as well. There's a few more high tech plus, but they're not in this army just yet. They need to come from the back. He's trying to hit as much of this as possible, trying to get the Vikings on the right-hand side, but the Vikings to the north have done almost every job that they need to do, getting those Colossi down where they can. The two high tech plus trying to come in from the back. He's trying to hold on. Storm will try and push this back. Where are Flash's reinforcements? This army is actually holding for a little bit.
Yeah, good hold here by Zest, and he will keep Flash back for now and keeps his hopes alive. Not giving up yet. A loose Immortal in the middle of the map, but Flash's economy is incredible.
Yeah.
He's spread across even a new base now to the south. He has so much production, and he will go once again. Zest now needs to somehow find his feet, get back up, get the money rolling, get that army supply back up. He's only at 130. Flash is not going to let go of this. He's going to keep the pressure on. And this is where a couple of feedbacks could come in handy, or a Storm. Actually, I don't think he can do really anything here. This is going to get dropped on.
It's too much. It's too much. He doesn't have the firepower here available to him to be able to shut this drop down. And he's going to take even more damage. If this base gets shut down again, then how is Zest supposed to compete with the power of Flash behind this?
You cannot trade off against an opponent who is making more money than you. It's just not going to bode well for you. 10 Marines, 5 Ghosts compared to just 2 High Templar. Flash is ready with another army. He's playing and winning in the style that he's used from the very beginning of his StarCraft 2 career. Get all the money, build all the things, kill the other guy. And right now he's going across the map once again to trade off this army. And he's playing such a very solid style. Look at the minimap. There are so many units here.
It never stops. It absolutely never stops here as Flash, taking the economy advantage very early on, tries to go for the drop. Good start there by Zest to try and hold it back, but still there aren't enough units here to hold this off. Still there will be damage done. The trades keep happening for Flash as he's positioning himself on the left-hand side as well.
All right, no Colossus this time. EMPs are the key to victory, and we're going to see them landed on the 2 Immortals. 3 Immortals are taken down immediately. And those High Templar need to get in. They have to help, otherwise Flash will do this.
Has to be Storms, tries to get one down, but there's only one High Templar left. The Storm doesn't really hit the mark. This is a strong bioforce here from Flash, who is looking to push on. GG! After everything that's gone through in StarCraft 2, the legend of StarCraft 1 returns to form. The resurgence of Flash is here. He takes his championship here in Toronto. He's the Intel Extreme Masters champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Intel Extreme Master 2014 Toronto champion, Flash! And please give it up for the runner-up. He had an amazing tournament, but there can be only one winner, Zest. To present the checks to our 2 winners, really, from Intel, George, Ice Bucket Challenge, woo. The runner-up, Zest. And once more, our champion, KT Roaster Flash!
Fantastic 4 days we've had.
Everybody hug.
The champion is Flash once more. We're We're going to wrap up the tournament in just a moment and talk about 4 days of fantastic StarCraft 2. Flash is going to enjoy his first ever StarCraft 2 championship. It has been an awful long time coming, but I'm absolutely certain he's going to enjoy this one for a very long time as well. Great tournament from Zest as well in second place. And as you can see, just the amount of photographers at the front here just taking his picture. This one's going to live long in the memory. Todd and QXC are back with me on the couch. Terrific tournament, terrific final. Sum it up for you, Kevin, in terms of IEM Canada.
I don't think anybody's going to forget this one for a long time. We had a lot of great games, such good players here, and so many memorable moments. Not just series, but...
Here comes another one. One of our traditions at Intel Extreme Masters, the champion is always lifted by Carmack. And Flash gets the Carmack treatment as well. Todd, brilliant.
Excellent finals. You know, Flash on top of everything, just adjusting very well to those few all-ins that Zest tried to throw in, which make me wonder maybe he wasn't that confident.
Yep.
And yeah, just very, very impressive play, and which leaves me with the question, QXC, best race in StarCraft 2.
Ha!
You know, one thing that I thought, this is probably the funniest part of the finals for me, is the only game that Flash lost was where he had all the information he needed. And he won game after game after game with literally no information at all.
Yeah.
Like on merry-go-round, he had no idea what was coming, and he defended it all perfectly. On Sejong, the SCV comes out, it sees the robo literally as it starts, and that's the only game that he lost.
So what did you learn?
Don't scout.
I thought Apollo's advice was very good for any new people watching StarCraft 2 for the first time. Get lots of money, build lots of stuff, beat the other guy.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Perfect.
How could you lose with that strategy?
I don't know how you could ever lose a game of StarCraft. I'm personally going to go back and try that kind of build.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'll be okay. Let's talk about the whole tournament as a whole. Flash's best race, apparently. And his signature approves. That was one of the one of the cheerfuls just to the side of me. Let's talk about the tournament as a whole. 4 days, fabulous festival of StarCraft 2.
Yep.
We talked about it at the very beginning of the tournament that Flash had a genuine opportunity to win something outside of Korea for the first time in his StarCraft 2 career.
Yep.
And he's delivered. It's almost like the story was perfect. We wrote it at the very beginning, and every chapter has played out exactly the way he would want it. But that would be ignoring some of the other performances that we've had throughout the 4 days. Snoot, for instance, sick nerdballer, fabulous way through the brackets. Came in against a massive amount of top players, but did really well.
I mean, one thing you can't forget here is Snoot was 1 game from eliminating Flash.
Yes.
One game.
And had a 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
So,
you know, either way, it would have been such a great story, but their series was so close, so back and forth.
Yep.
And I guess so, MC did beat Flash in the group stages, but in the best of 5, the longer series, Snoot was the person who got closest to dethroning him.
Yep. What was your standout memory of all of the things that you've seen in match? It could be a match, could be a player, could be a run. What do you think?
There are so many, to be honest.
Yeah.
I can't really pick one. I feel like
Nobody
really bombed out of the tournaments, like not leaving their mark. And if they did, it was some of the most popular players out there. You know, Hyun took last in his group.
Yep.
Poltz took last in his group.
Yep.
So
Jaedong didn't even make it out of the bracket.
I mean, it was just insane in terms of quality, all the players that we had here. So following all these guys, seeing them fall one by one, and then some players like Live going 11-1, you know, at first in terms of maps, was just incredible to follow this whole time. And Zest as well. Zest, you know, as a Protoss player, I was really looking forward to which Protoss might make it the furthest. I thought at first it might be MC, but Zest really in those last few games really delivering, taking out Yoda at the start of the day, and later on against Life. I said Life was the favorite, and you know, Zest played extremely well that series, so it was really cool to follow this guy.
Disappointments. I don't want to be too negative about it, but the Canadian showing wasn't as strong as maybe we'd hoped. I mean, Scarlett probably the one that stands out of all of them that we would hope would progress from her group, but she had a terrible group in terms of quality, and it was always going to be difficult.
Yeah, Scarlett had a really tough time. The games against Life were back and forth. She was one of the only people to actually take a game off of life until he ended up losing the series. Her games against Flash were strange. It felt like a different person.
It did, underwhelming, weren't they?
Yeah.
Very underwhelming. Not the kind of aggressive, creep-spreading maniac we've seen in previous matches, that's for sure. Anyone else you think that perhaps came into this expecting to do better than they did that maybe failed? I mean, the overachievers are obvious. Zest, we expected maybe to get to the final, but people like Yoda, first, reaching quarterfinals, first matches for TCM, great from them. But who underperformed for you?
SOS and Hero both falling out very early in the tournament. Perhaps I expected Lenok to go a little bit further.
Really?
Yes.
So I had him in the overachiever. I thought he did really well, considering that he had such a tough bracket to get through in the first place. Wasn't really expected to get out of the open bracket, and then almost came out of the groups as well. So I don't know. How do you feel about that, Todd?
Yeah, you know, SOS is that guy when there is tournaments with without 100K as the first prize, is sometimes gonna be a little bit inconsistent. It's been a while back too that he hasn't performed nearly as well. You know, even after some of the big wins that he's had, he went back to Korea and he disappointed a lot in Pro League. Then he came back strong again, but this time it just really felt like he wasn't on his A game. And in this tournament, if you're not in your A game, you don't deserve to go very far because there are so many great players.
Okay. I think we may have Flash, actually. Do you gents want to just jump up? This is very kind of off the cuff. We're kind of doing, this is IEM Extra or something that we're doing right now.
Anything for God.
Anything for God. So if we can get Flash to come down here with James, our interpreter, and just kick my two friends out for a moment. You can come back though. Don't go too far. We still need to talk to you. Okay. Do you want to come down and join us? It's all very informal. Grab a headset, God. Congratulations. See, perfect English as well.
Why am I here?
Why are you here? Exactly. Go on. We don't need you now. So hold on. I need to do something because I forgot about this, and now I need to do something. This is the point, okay? Okay. Thank you. All right. Hold on. Hold on. Because we need to do this properly, right? Here we go. There we go.
I now see you night.
It's fine. We can do it like that. Perfect. The KT roster tie, everyone, has changed hands. And the only way it can change hands now is if someone beats Flash in a Premier Tournament final. That's the deal, all right? He has to keep that. So tell him. Make sure he knows.
그다음 이제 큰 대회에서 이영호 선수를 이기면은 이영호 선수 지면은 이긴 선수한테 선물로 이걸 주라 그랬네요.
Okay.
계속 돌아다니게.
All right. He's now the master of Twitch chat. That's how that works, okay? So all of the Twitch chat right now bow to God. He's their master. Less fun stuff. Let's talk about the game. Talk about the tournament. What does this mean to Flash?
자, 짧게 이제 이영호 선수한테 이번 대회와 이 IEM 토너먼트 자체가 그리고 여기서 우승을 한 의미 그리고 여러 가지 이제 마음다짐이나 앞으로에 대해서 짧게 설명해 주세요.
예, 제가요 일단 팬분들한테 2년 안에 원래 그게 1년이었는데 2년으로 늘었어요. 2년 안에 우승한다 했었는데 정말 지킬 수 있어서 그게 제일 기쁘고요. 제가 항상 팬분들한테 실망 안 시켜드리려고 노력 많이 하는데 뭐 전 세계 팬분들이 항상 그런 거 알아봐주고 응원 열심히 해줘서 항상 감사하고 앞으로 더 한국 가서도 또 우승하고 그래서 또 해외 또 오고 하도록 하겠습니다.
Always, throughout all my career, I've done all my best to make sure I don't disappoint all you fans. And 2 years ago, I recall doing an interview saying that I will be back with the level of dominance that I showed in Brood War in StarCraft 2. And I am so glad that I was able to keep to the promise. And from now on, when I go back to Korea now on, I'll do all I can in GSL and also in a bunch of other qualifiers to see if I can come out to foreign scene and meet you guys a lot more next time.
Fabulous. I think I speak for everyone here. We'd love to see him more often in the international scene. BlizzCon is still there. It's maybe tough to get to, but it's closer now. I mean, you're nearly 25% chance rather than 7% chance. You've got to do well in GSL. Potentially, you've got to win it. Or Kesper Cup. You've got to have another great couple of tournaments. Are you thinking about BlizzCon, or you just want to take one game and one tournament at a time?
자, 이제 앞으로 블리즈콘을 가시려면 이영호 선수 GSL이랑 캐스파컵 그리고 사실상 뭐 그 두 개 빼고는 이제 더 이상 남은 게 없는데 이번 우승을 통해서 750점 획득하시면서 가능성이 높아졌습니다.
예, 일단 정말 갈 곳이 멀긴 먼데 그래도 남은 대회 두 개에서 충분히 좋은 성적 거둘 수 있을 것 같고요. 이렇게 우승했으니까 앞으로 사실 꼭 블리즈컨을 목표로 하지 않고 이제 또 내년 블리즈컨 우승해도 되고 그러니까 지금은 그냥 마음 편히 있는 앞에 대회 잘 할 수 있도록 하겠습니다.
Of course, going to BlizzCon this year would be fantastic, but I know it is a long shot, and I'm not going to be one to pressuring myself to be all that greedy in the next two tournaments. I got Kespa Cup, I got the GSL. I'll just do what I can, and if I play well enough, I guess I'll see you guys in GS or BlizzCon.
Okay, good stuff. I don't know if where's Nathanius? Is he around anywhere?
Oh, Nathan should come here.
Yeah,
Nathan's huge
Nathan
fan
should
of Flash.
definitely come. If you're around, Nathan, come round the front right now. It's like a tannoy. Nathan to the front of stage. Nathan to the front of stage.
Huh?
I don't know if he's coming or not. It's a present from the fan. Oh, the Canadian flag. Okay. Actually, QXE's here. QXE can step in for Nathanius. Come over here a minute.
What?
We need to do something. He's coming. Nathan's coming as well. Hold on. We need to do something very special for Flash. Okay.
Oh, no.
Nathanius, myself, and QXE are all Terrans. So here's what we're going to do.
I am also Terran. 자, 테란 신께 이거 서서 절 받으시죠.
He's going to kill me now. He's actually going to kill me. Ladies and gentlemen, the Intel Extreme Masters champion of Toronto, Flash! Thank you so much. I'm going to need my guys to come back in now. So, yeah, we're gonna do a special challenge. Oh, I have to go? Okay, apparently I have to go. All right, hold on. We'll be right back.
All right, thank you.
All right. Where's my mic, man? Oh, here it is. All right, so Red Eye agreed to an ice bucket challenge. I don't know how much narration this requires. Maybe I'll just laugh through my microphone. Are you ready, Paul? Do you have any? I did this, by the way, on his challenge. It was far more shocking than I expected. I went into shock, literally. So, you enjoy this, man. And that's cheating. Get that collar down, man. Yes! Oh, the slowest ice bucket challenge of all time. Oh, when is it gonna end? Yeah. Paul Red Eye Shalom!
Okay. I'm about as cold as an Eskimo's testicle right now, but I'm going to try and carry on. Kev, how you doing?
I'm staying away from you right now.
I would love to hug you right now.
I know you would. I'm ready to jump out there.
Right.
Yeah, so keep the headset on.
That's the fastest I've seen Kev move all week. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the Intel Extreme Masters in Toronto. We have had an absolute ball. These guys here have been very welcoming. We've loved the food, we've loved the people, we've loved the city. But it's time to say goodbye. Thank you so much for tuning in and coming down to the Intel Extreme Masters in Toronto. We will see you next time, and it's going to be more epic.